This is Guns and Ghosts for the Commodore 64, developed by Cytronic Software and RGCD back in 2013. I'm a huge fan of the Commodore 64, and I have multiple original systems. I've got modern cases, I've got various mini consoles. I just love this system. Last month, Retro Games, who are the makers of the C64 Mini, decided to release a variant that was all black in color. I wasn't going to buy one, but eventually I talked myself into it because ultimately it had a carousel of games that was all different than the original Mini. I have to say that I'm really glad I bought this because the first game that I tried was this game, and it's fantastic. Seriously, I was riveted to this game, and I've gone back to play it multiple times. Guns and Ghosts was released 20 plus years after the heyday of the original console, and to play it today you're going to need to use this mini console, or you're going to have to use some sort of an emulation device. You should be able to buy this game on the website of Cytronics for a couple bucks. Here we have an arcade-style game with over 70 levels of gameplay. I think that's impressive. After a few hours of playing, I don't think I've hit level 20 yet, and it's difficult to play this game even if you're using save states. This is a one screen at a time game. It's a run and gun shooter, and you can play it 1 or 2 players. You can also play one of 2 different characters. You can play George or Trev. George has a shotgun, and when you shoot, you're not going to see a bullet, but you're going to just see creatures getting hit when you do. And Trev has a psychic blast instead of a gun. As you play, you're going to find power-ups. George can increase his weapon capacity for bullets. He can get a one-hit kill, and Trev can get an increased attack range, and he can get one-hit kills as well. There's also a weapon reload speed upgrade and extra lives. You're tasked with killing monsters, and it's kind of as simple as that. You start out with zombies, and then you have, I think, are bats, then there's skeletons, there's this Frankenstein-looking monster, and at this stage, I'm thinking we have it pretty good for a Commodore game, because we got 4 different enemy types. And then we get a boss at level 11, and then on level 12 we get spider monsters. Man, we got some great variety going here. Plus bosses. That's awesome. I was stoked to not only run into a boss at level 11, but to actually, after I figured out how to kill him, I managed to get past him and there were still more levels after. I kind of figured it might have been one of those games that just simply put you in a loop and repeated itself. But no, it actually keeps going. And after actually reading up on it, it's got more than 70 levels. That's awesome. The 2 players you can play, they behave a little different. Having psychic powers means you need to get closer to creatures to attack them until you get upgrades. Personally, I prefer the shotgun for now. It's just a little easier to my playstyle. When you start, you only have 2 attacks before you can't attack anymore. You've run out of ammunition. And that's something I usually wonder about in these types of games on the Commodore. How do you reload with a console that only has 1 button on a controller? In this case, the button's used to fire, so reloading has to be a different mechanic. Here, it's automatic. If you stand still, you're going to reload, and it's going to be probably 1 shot per second. This is easier to deal with when you start getting upgrades, and you also can increase your ammo capacity, and once you get a better reload speed and more ammo, it's easier to manipulate. The concept totally works for this game, and I love it. You just need to plan your attack and give yourself a little bit of recharge time as well, and sometimes it gets really hectic. You're going to also find yourself needing to jump over enemies to get out of the way when you have no ammo. It's pretty intense sometimes. Now, each level is 1 screen, and you usually have various platforms that you can navigate. You have obstacles. Creatures are going to spawn in over time all over the place, and your screens can get fairly cluttered with enemies, so keeping on top of shooting and recharging, it's going to be really important to keep yourself alive. If you look at some older videos online for this game, you see this awesome splash screen when they load the game, but I don't seem to get that splash screen when I load it here. It just goes right into the leaderboards, and then you start the game from there. We get some text that sets the story when you start, and it's basically you heading in to rescue an area from monsters. I think this flavor text is nice. They're kind of like mini cutscenes, and I'm really happy to see them here, as opposed to just having text be buried in a manual somewhere. We also get some pretty awesome Commodore-style synth music to accompany our efforts, and it's pretty awesome fighting the forces of evil to a track like this. It really works great. I've been having a blast with this one. I've been impressed on all fronts with this offering. Guns and Ghosts makes the C64 Black a must-buy for me, and I can't help think that if this particular game had been released back in like 1983 or 84, this would have sold Commodore 64 systems. This is a lot of fun. And honestly, if that came out back then, people would probably have scrambled to try to port this to other consoles of that day. They would do that for really good games. This one's a ton of fun. This would have branched out for sure. Well, that's all I have today for Guns and Ghosts for the C64 Mini Black Edition. Thanks for stopping by for a look, and I hope to catch you on another video.